We have a very serious problem on this platform. Oh, by the way, this is my face reveal. I know it's a good face, isn't it? I've worked very hard on this face. And also, just to get this out of the way, those books don't actually usually go there. I've just put them there for the sake of this video to make me look more learned than I actually am. A few moons ago, I uploaded a video called The Crimes of Grindelwald, Why It's the Worst. And basically it was a deconstruction of the recent Fantastic Beasts film, and basically asking why it's considered to be the worst film associated with the Harry Potter IP. And in this video I provide this critical analysis of why the film is bad, looking at the structure and the conflict, and looking at various different dramatic devices, and using all of that as sort of a case study to take away a few writing lessons some of my fellow writers out there can learn from. All in all, it was a perfect example of fair use. But cutting straight to the chase, Warner Brothers copyright claimed my video, blocking it in all countries. Within half an hour, I disputed the claim, as any sane-minded person would do, because it's obviously fair use, and they were like, nope, you do not have fair use. And basically, this is actually quite fun, is my video was manually claimed, which means it didn't automatically, the algorithm didn't find it. I mean, like, an employee of Warner Brothers saw my video with it as it like came out and was like, huh, Henry's uploaded a new video. It's clearly meets all the criteria for fair use. You know, it's transformative, it's educational, it's providing criticism, it's doing all of that stuff. Clearly puts heart and soul into this video. He doesn't have the right to criticize us, but let's just claim it and take it down so nobody can see it. Now, what I find really interesting is after I sent my reply, they doubled down, right? Warner Brothers, they doubled down, you hear me? They said, no, Henry, we are sure, absolutely certainly sure that what you're doing is not fair use. You do not have the right to use our content, right? I mean, they basically said that, but they didn't remove the claim. However, they did change it so it was no longer blocked worldwide. They were just monetizing it. All of the AdSense from my hard-earned work was going right into their pocket. I think I just thought of the perfect metaphor for this sort of copyright relationship between me and Warner Brothers. It feels like I'm the ruler of Cloud City, right? I'm Lando Calrissian, and Warner Brothers is Darth Vader.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
This deal gets worse all the time. I upload once every 3 weeks, and for each video it takes about 13 days of like full-time work to get that video done and out. And for the number-savvy portion of you watching, you might be thinking, hang on, wait, so Henry uploads once every 3 weeks, he works 13 days of those 3 weeks on the closer look. What the hell does he do with the rest of his time? Just play video games and wake up at 1 PM? Well, to those people, I must say yes and yes, respectively. A lot of you don't know about this right now, but I am currently working on a novel. My dream career is to be a full-time author and also be running the close look on the side and sort of handling my sort of novelist career and the closer look hand in hand, and that's where I'm trying to go with my career. And later this year, probably, if I can get it done in time, my debut sci-fi novel will be out and finally out there, so if you want to buy that when it comes out, then please do so. Hashtag shameless self-promo. But what is the purpose of this video? So this video has been going on for quite a while now, and I haven't really said why this video is being made. So instead of basically exposing Warner Brothers Entertainment for abusing fair use and copyright systems on YouTube for their own financial advantage, the copyright system on YouTube is something that everybody is whinging about, yet most people don't know much about it. I'm not trying to stand like above everyone else, like I am a professional whinger. Literally the purpose of my channel is to analyze stuff and whinge about it. That's literally my job description. Okay, so alright, every time I see people talk about the copyright system on YouTube, they always sort of say it like this. YouTube needs to change their system for how to file a copyright claims. This is ridiculous. You would think YouTube would have competition by now, based on how the platform has been so against artists and creators. YouTube is going to shit. I hope another platform grows soon to give creative content creators the proper respect and payment they deserve. The truth is, 99% of people blame YouTube for the copyright system. 99% of people are wrong.
1 million dislikes!
Now, what I'm saying next isn't just blind speculation, it's not just some, ignorant opinion. I like to think that I've really looked up on this. I've spoken to YouTube employees. I've had a small Q&A with them, privately speaking. I've read a lot of articles. I've obviously been on the platform for about 6-7 years at this point. And the truth about the YouTube copyright system, it's actually pretty good.
1 million dislikes! Can we get 1 million dislikes?
Wait, did Henry just say he likes the copyright system on YouTube? Yes, I did. I think given the cards on the table, YouTube has done pretty much everything that could be reasonably expected of them in their power to make the copyright system as friendly to creators like me and potentially you and everyone else around. But before you dislike the video, leave an angry comment and leave, please give me the chance to explain why. But in order to explain why YouTube's copyright system is actually pretty good, we need to first understand the US copyright law. So I'm not going to bore you with the nitty-gritty details and the boring names of things, but basically in US law there are these things called safe harbor laws, which apply to sites like Facebook, YouTube, and all the other big social media sites. Basically, safe harbor laws mean that the platform is not responsible for the actions of its users. So if I personally were to upload the entire film The Dark Knight to YouTube, as I do, because us video essayists, we can't go 2 videos without at least mentioning the Dark Knight trilogy, but if I were to upload the whole film The Dark Knight, and through some miracle the YouTube algorithm didn't detect it, YouTube, legally speaking, is not responsible whatsoever for my actions. However, if Warner Brothers sees the video and then sends a message to YouTube saying, hey, we want this video taken down, YouTube, legally speaking, has to oblige. Because if they don't oblige, they get sued. If YouTube themselves turned to the copyright holder and said, sorry, you've requested to take this video down, but in our opinion, the video is fair use, we're going to leave it up. If YouTube did that, in that moment, those safe harbor laws come tearing down, YouTube is vulnerable to being sued. Right? And imagine YouTube doing that for hundreds of thousands of channels. Even if YouTube had that army of people to, look at all the videos out there and determine if the copyright claims were fair use or flagrantly false, even if YouTube were to do that, they would pretty much be vulnerable to be sued on every single time they turned around and said no to the copyright holder. As you can imagine, that's a lot of lawsuits. I'm not saying that YouTube is infallible. I'm not saying that. YouTube screwed up so many times in the past with monetization, and their copyright system is sometimes inaccurate. Sometimes there are just automatically just wrong claims because the copyright algorithm just doesn't work, right? Sometimes that happens. But what I'm saying is, in this specific aspect, in the terms of copyright and the fact that all the copyright holder has to do is say, hey, we think we own that, and the video goes down immediately, don't get angry at YouTube for that. They're just doing what's legally required of them. The first way to make real change is to go after the companies. But the second, and by far the most effective way to cause change, is to go to the lawmakers and get this on their radar. That's the aspect of this that nobody speaks about. It's something that we should all be doing as a whole community, as the entire YouTube community. We should all be going to the US lawmakers, not getting angry at them, but mentioning this to them, telling them this system is fundamentally broken, it is decades out of date, doesn't work in this current system. There is no option 3. There is no third option. It's either get angry at the companies or go to the lawmakers and get them to change the way the law is written. Those are the only 2 things you can do that will have any effect. We as a community have been whinging about this for 10 years straight now, just constantly, just endlessly whinging about it to YouTube, expecting YouTube to fix their system. YouTube has done everything they can. The rest has to be done from the very root of the cause, which is the laws themselves. Okay, but let me outline the real problems with this system, the fundamental core problems with the copyright system. The truth is when a copyright holder looks at my videos and decides, hey, We own that video. No matter what I do from then on, I am guilty. Doesn't matter what I think. My opinion is irrelevant. The only opinion that matters is the opinion of the accuser. Does that make much sense? The foundation of any good justice system. Innocent until proven guilty. Well, the justice system with like the copyright online on YouTube, it's not just guilty until proven innocent. It's not just that, it is that. But it's not just that. It's guilty, full stop. The very second a claim is made by a copyright holder, in that moment, I am guilty. End of. That's the end of the discussion. I'm guilty from then on. There is no trial, there is no exchange of evidence, there is no conversation. I'm guilty from then on. Okay, I say it's guilty upon accusal. Now, theoretically, it's not, right? Theoretically, the copyright system on YouTube isn't guilty upon accusal, but it is. Let me explain why. Because I have the ability, when Warner Brothers does this bullshit, right now I could refute their claim and go back a few times, I could hire a lawyer, I could then take a plane ticket to America where I have to fight this in court. I'll have to, over the course of about a year, I'd have to shell out maybe $200,000 US to fight this lawsuit. I'd have to spend about a year's worth of my time stressing all over this, all for the sake of one video. All for the sake of about $2,000 in ad revenue. Any human being who has even half of a functional brain will see that that is a tremendously dumb, flawed, and stupid system. And the thing is the copyright holders know this. They are so aware that this system is so overwhelmingly in favor of the big copyright holders that they just abuse it. Just a little segue. Marvel Studios and Disney are actually great with this. But, I've uploaded videos in the past where I sort of whinge on the cinematic universe of, like, Marvel's universe and sort of say it's bad. I mean, like, I made a video, like, The Last Jedi, how comedy can kill a movie or whatever. And, like, I've been highly critical of, like, Disney's and Marvel's products, and they have never once ever abused the system to try and silence me or take away my revenue. But to Disney and Marvel, I just want to say thank you. Very well done. You guys are respecting the system. So to you guys, a big thumbs up. Like I said, like, court cases cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is my parents' house. Like, this is my bedroom in, like, near the loft in my mum's house. Like, how am I supposed to be able to fund a $200,000 lawsuit and just for the sake of getting $2,000 back and also invest a year of my time and get really stressed out about this? It's a really dumb system. And also what's pretty good is even if the copyright claim is 100% false. Like, they have claimed that I use copyrighted content which I don't use in the video. Objectively speaking, the claim is wrong, right? Because it's not a matter of fair use. I simply didn't even use the stuff they say I did. Even then, the same applies. The exact same applies. Even in those cases, I still have to lawyer up and get this in front of a judge's eyes in order to remove the claim. I think only like 2 or 3 times in my life have I had those sort of totally false claims, and generally I don't personally have problems with it. But here's one for you. H3H3, they uploaded a video which was literally just a clip from their podcast. Like, someone claimed they used the song like Sex is on Fire or something by like Madian or something. Like, they claimed a song was used in the video which was not used in the video, and they refused to remove the claim. This company made an entirely false claim of copyright, and H3H3 did not have the ability to get it removed, even though it was totally, objectively speaking, a wrong claim. They still were powerless, and the copyright holder was still taking all their money from the AdSense. How is anyone happy with this system? Like how? Like, how was it not improved already? Let me really hammer this home. This is my home run. This is my big swing. Okay, so let me give you the brief rundown of how any functional court would work. You've got the defendant, which in this case would be me. You've got the prosecution, which, is Warner Brothers in this case. And then you've got the judge and the jury. Now, the judge and the jury have to be impartial. Like, if it gets found out after the trial that a member of the jury was, like, actually associated with the case and had an incentive to give a guilty or non-guilty verdict, the entire result of the trial can be called into question. right? That's how seriously a good court takes the whole impartiality of the judge and the jury. With YouTube, with this system, here's how it works. You've got me, the defendant. You've got Warner Brothers, the prosecution, but also you've got Warner Brothers as the judge and Warner Brothers as the jury. Warner Brothers is entirely in charge of this case. Right, now theoretically this isn't the case because I have the ability to take it higher, to take it to a real court where I'll get impartially judged, but as I just said, that takes like a year's worth of time and hundreds of thousands of dollars, which I just don't have. As I said earlier, if there is even a whiff of doubt that the judge and the jury are not impartial and have a personal bias in the case, the entire result gets called into question, and rightfully so. So when you have the prosecution also being the judge and also being the jury, do you see the tremendous conflict of interest that happens? The prosecution and the judge and the jury have a massive incentive to give a wrong verdict, because it means that if they give a guilty verdict, they get money. For every case they award themselves, their wallet gets a little thicker. And that's what happens. That's how the copyright system works on YouTube. It's like, this is why it's guilty upon accusal, because the prosecution, the guy who accuses you, is also the one who decides your sentence and decides if you're guilty or not. You know, in the sense, that's literally how this works. It's just not fair. I don't want to sound like a child giving a little whinge, but it's just not fair. I have no power. No creator has power here. The truth is, in order for this to get better, there are only two things that can happen. Either A, Susan Wojcicki, who's the CEO of YouTube, goes completely insane, decides to ignore all of the claims from copyright holders, and gets YouTube sued into oblivion by hundreds of thousands of lawsuits. Or B, the US government changes its copyright laws to be more fitting with the digital age. So really, the only option is B, right? That's the only way this can get better. Whinging at YouTube, sending angry tweets to Susan Wojcicki, all of it is not going to help a bit. The only thing that will help is by talking to politicians and getting this on their radar. Now, I say that the US government should change the system, but it's one thing to just say, just change it and make it better, and it's another thing to actually say that and also provide some like realistic goals and sort of, as a creator, my opinion on what the perfect system would look like in this way. Well, I've actually got a good suggestion, I like to think. But the way we need to move forward, the way this needs to improve, is we need to find a way to deal with these copyright claims in a way that's 99.9% cheaper than it currently is, and 99.9% faster than it currently is, which is a lot to ask for, but it's honestly the only way we can actually move forward and improve this whole situation. Okay, but the thing is in order to do that, the US government would need to fundamentally change fair use laws. They'd need to. There's no getting around that. They'd have to fundamentally change the way the fair use works in the US. But ideally in this new system, right, what you'd have is anytime the creator uses the fair use excuse when accused of copyrighted content, or, says, hang on a second, this is a flagrant false claim, I don't even use the content they're saying I'm using, a single member of this board, just one person, will look at this video, will review the case over about a 10-minute period, maybe 5-minute period, and then decide conclusively if it's fair use or not. Now, obviously, that's a big ask. Like, that is not an easy task. It's almost a pipe dream, because it requires the US government actually has to change the laws to work in a common sense way, which is it's a big ask, I know. It's very unlikely that'll ever happen. Here's how it works, right? So you have all the criteria for fair use. For example, is it educational? Is it transformative? Is it for review? Is it non-profit? All of the fair use criteria. And if a video meets 4 of the fair use criteria to a reasonable degree, it's objectively fair use, and the employee, the worker, will see it meets 4 of the criteria, thus it's fair use. They'll click a button, and the moment they click that button, it is legally fair use. If the video meets 3 or 2 out of all the criteria, that's a bit more of a grey area, and I think that's when it should be up to the discretion of the worker to think, okay, so it's maybe a bit of a grey area, is this fair use or not? And they decide if it's fair use or not. And if a video only meets 1 of the fair use criteria, it only does one thing that's fair use, that's objectively not fair use, and the rights default to the copyright holder. I think that is the best way to do it. And also what's good, right? I, as the creator, have 1,000 words to outline why what I'm doing is fair use, and I will refer to the legal documents, and I'll sort of say all the criteria I meet and explain why, and give little examples as to why I meet those criteria. And Warner Brothers has the exact same opportunity. They have those same 1,000 words to give a detailed argument as to why what I'm doing is not fair use, why I do not meet the criteria, and then the employee will review both sides of the argument and make an informed decision. And they will obviously have an in-depth knowledge on all laws, copyright and all laws fair use, and they will decide. Realistically, it's stupid that you need to go through a $200,000 massive legal case to decide something as simple as, is a 10-minute video on YouTube fair use? And I think anyone who's got half a functional brain would realize that actually it's, when you think about it, it's really quite ridiculous that it's so time consuming and so expensive to simply get it in front of the eyes of someone who's informed with legal power to decide if it's fair use or not. I think that kind of system where you've got it's almost like an industrial scale deciding on fair use through no one's actually speaking. There is no you physically turn up there. It's just they look at their computer screen. On the left is the arguments from the creator as to why it's fair use. Left is the arguments from the copyright holder as to why it's not. In the middle, you've got the video. They watch it. It's I can imagine it now, and it would be such a simple system, right? And what's really good about this is big, massive companies like Warner Brothers. This is what I'm pretty sure these big companies do, is they have their employees looking at these copyright claims on YouTube, and they do this when they review them. Deny, 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 without even reviewing them, without even looking on a case-by-case basis and actually using their brains to think if it's actually fair use or not. Now the way it is Warner Brothers will have to actually look at the video and actually look on a case-by-case basis, because if they don't, they can do that thing where they just mass flag all the videos, but that worker will speed through it, see the fact that, Warner Brothers has copy-pasted some general disingenuous response which doesn't even apply to the video, while the creator has done a really actually detailed, well-tailored argument as to why it meets all the criteria. And in those circumstances, the worker will default to just saying, well, the creator knows what they're talking about. The copyright holder clearly doesn't give a damn because they haven't even spent the time to say why it's not fair use. Goes to the creator, right? That's the way it really should work. 34.4% of you watching this right now are American, which means that you have the responsibility here. For those 34.4% of you, you have the power, right? You are the ones who decide how this changes, because apparently the world is subjective to US laws. For some reason. I don't know why. I'm not a fan of it, but I guess we are. So you have the power. So please message your local politicians and any politicians you can. Basically get this on their radar. Maybe show them this video if you want, but there's probably a little too much swearing and a little too much comedy for your politicians to enjoy it, because as we all know, politicians don't have any sense of humour. But please, if you actually want to make a real difference, you don't just want to go on Twitter and have a little whinge in the comments. You want to actually make a real difference to the world in this way. Please message and email your local politicians and get this issue on their radar. That's the best way, the most effective way, the most long-term way to improve this for everyone. This will be improvement for everyone. But just a few parting words. We hit 400,000 subscribers a week ago, or a few days ago. That's fantastic. That's brilliant. I've never really been a person to celebrate milestones. That's just not who I am as a person. But I will say, very good. It's very good. We were at 400,000 subscribers. Also, if you guys want to help support me making my video essays, please go down below to my Patreon page and pledge maybe just even $1. Just a single dollar will help me, and when you do that as like a big group, that helps me so much. And thanks to you guys on Patreon, I actually have stability, a little bit of stability in this job. So massive thank you. Please message politicians, make them know that this is an issue tremendously affecting our generation and will affect whether or not our generation votes for them or not. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on The Closer Look.